Hey friends, I'm so glad you're here for my first episode. Welcome to the show. In today's episode, I'm going to walk you through what fulfillment therapy is and why it's crucial. We'll discuss how to live a life without regret and how to help others do the same. I even give you free therapeutic tips on how to explore what will help you find more purpose and meaning starting today. I can't wait to start. Hello, I'm Kendra Nielsen. Welcome to Fulfillment Therapy, where you will improve your relationship with yourself, your loved ones, and with God. You'll find healing, wellness, crucial mindset shifts, and self-development help. I'm a licensed therapist, personal trainer, and coach. In this podcast, you'll learn the skills and confidence needed to transform your life from merely surviving to living a fulfilling, flourishing life. You can't reach your God-given potential and become who you were meant to become by remaining where you are. If you're ready, we'll create an ignited life you can't wait to wake up to. And yes, it's possible. It's your time to shine, my friend. This is my very first episode on fulfillment therapy. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I thought it would be great to talk about what fulfillment therapy is as kind of the kickoff, why it's important, and really why I'm creating this podcast. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a brief introduction into me and my background. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a therapist, trainer, teacher, and coach. I am also trained in trauma therapy, or EMDR, and couples therapy, so Gottman 1 and 2, emotionally focused therapy, other things like that. I can explain more of that, what that is later. But I'm also really big into personal development and mindset especially. So I run wellness retreats for couples and for individuals. And personally, I've been married 18 years. I'm a mom of 5-ish. Let me explain. We have a bunch of foreign exchange students. By a bunch, I mean we have one at a time, but we've had one from Germany, and we currently have one from Italy, and we are going to get one from France next year. And my kids range, their ages go from 7 to 18, and I just love it. I feel, well, let's be honest here. Parenting is really hard, but I really love the stage that I'm in right now. I love having teenagers. I was afraid because people said it was going to be really hard, but I've been loving it. I'm also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And anyone can listen to this podcast, obviously, but it's going to be through that faith lens. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But all are welcome here. That faith lens, I guess I should say, is a very important part of having that wellness balance in your life. So I'm going to be lacing that in a lot of things that I do, because we find that it's very important in counseling to make sure that there is also a balance in spirituality, whether that's religion, whether that's mindfulness of some sort, but finding that tranquility and that peace is a very important part of our mental health. Another part about me is I love new experiences, play, movement, water, pranking. I really enjoy pranking, you guys. April Fools is always a lot of fun for me, and my family might not agree that it's as fun for them, but I really enjoy it, and they really seem to like retelling the stories later, so I'll have to go more into that later. I love to learn and eat good food, especially when someone else prepares it. I love to read, and I love spending quality time with amazing friends and family, like those kindred spirits. So my husband, Joel, is also a therapist, and he'll be on some episodes later to give his take on things. What I do in counseling especially is I teach my clients how to let go of problem-focused narratives and change their stories to ones of empowerment and purpose. So in this podcast, I will be teaching you how to do that stuff as well as time goes on. But my mission is especially to help others live a fulfilling life today, not put it off, but to really focus on what they can do to start making their life one of meaning and purpose immediately. When I was in school, I was really surprised by how problem-focused things were among the teachers, among counselors. It just wasn't as healthy of an atmosphere as I would have expected. So I started to do my own research and I started looking into different modalities and what would resonate with me. And I found that there was a few different things that stood out. Now you don't need to know what these are right now, but I'm just going to throw those out there in case you do have some background with it. But positive psychotherapy, solution-focused counseling, strengths-based counseling, and acceptance and commitment therapy. So really what all those have in common, for the most part, in my opinion, is that they are a little bit more focused on action and ownership and your strengths and mindset. Whereas these other ones, it felt a little bit more to me that you were getting stuck in the weeds a little bit, just focusing too much on those problems instead of finding that momentum that would propel you forward. I want to share a quote with you. It is by Tony Robbins, which many of you may know or have heard of, at least. I really love his insights. Sometimes he has a little bit of a mouth on him, but I love what he has to say. And he had a really profound way of talking about fulfillment. So I want you to listen closely to what he says about this. I will tell you right now, there's one word that will give you happiness. One. You'll remember it as long as you live. Progress. Progress equals happiness. Achieving goals does not equal happiness. So if you're asking yourself, what is my purpose? What you're really asking for is progress, a true sense of fulfillment. And fulfillment isn't a luxury or leisure activity. It's a necessity. All right, if you spaced out for that a little bit, I'm going to go back and read that last line especially. Fulfillment isn't a luxury or leisure activity. It's a necessity. Don't you just love that? And doesn't that ring true in your soul? Fulfillment isn't a luxury or a leisure activity. It's a necessity. I know that's true for me. And when I am progressing, I feel that sense of fulfillment. And if I don't have it, that is often when I feel stuck, when I feel depressed, when I feel anxious, when I feel overwhelmed, because there is that aspect, that important thing missing in our lives. And I've been really confused why more people aren't talking about this. It feels like the key, the thing that we need to put more of our effort and energy into. So that's what I'm doing. I'm creating that, and I'm creating this awareness that it's not about focusing on anxiety or depression or what's wrong in our lives. It's about creating that sense of fulfillment, finding that progress in your life so that you can have that happiness, that lasting joy and peace that comes from it. If you're currently stuck and feeling complacent, I really hope you keep returning to this podcast because I have so much to share with you that will help propel you forward. Tips, tricks, tools, things that we use in a therapeutic setting that will help you find that yourself. Slowly but surely along the way. I don't want to throw it all at you at once, but I'm going to give you what you need throughout these podcasts. Now, I want to share another quote with you by Marianne Williamson. A lot of people actually think this is by Nelson Mandela, but it is not. I know that you've heard it before, but it is worth repeating. And I'm just giving you a shortened version of it. The longer quote is amazing, but for sake of time, I'll just share some of the highlights. She says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same." Don't you guys love that? That really rings true with me, just like the other one, that our deepest fear is really that we are powerful beyond measure. And that's scary. That's intimidating. That's like a tall order, right? But really, when we are not acting as our best self, when we're not leaning into things, that's when we have that discord and that breakdown, that sadness and overwhelm that I talked about earlier. But when we do let our own light shine, we give other people permission to do the same. And that is really where that fulfillment comes in, when we are acting according to our true potential. And I'm going to revisit this quote on and off, maybe give you the bigger version, but I just love that. I really want you to keep that in mind, because that imagery of letting your own light shine is very powerful. I've given you a few whys already, the whys on why I'm running this podcast. Now I want to give you a little bit of a background for me. I'm going to be vulnerable here and just let you know that honestly, this podcast is scary for me to do. Some people might love the spotlight, and in some ways, I think it's fun to make people laugh and to be able to help people. But to put yourself out there so publicly is not a comfortable place for me. I don't enjoy conflicting opinions and comparisons and judgments, or even conflict, even though I'm a therapist. I don't mind it in an office setting, but with people you don't really know and feeling that intensity, it's not really a comfortable place to be. I really know deep down that I am supposed to be a leader, but just like in the scriptures, like Jonah, I've resisted that calling because I don't want to be seen. But I know that I can't help others shine when I'm not willing to shine myself. These last 12 months have been full of me stepping outside my comfort zone, from starting my private practice to an online business to now a podcast, and also starting women's retreats and couples retreats. There hasn't been any time where I've really been able to work in the shadows, and let me tell you, it has not been comfortable, but it has been the most fulfilling time of my life. You might be wondering, how can something be really, really uncomfortable and also the most fulfilling time? Like, how can you live in that anxiety and be really happy? Really, it's possible. And I want that for other people. I want that for my kids, where they step forward into those uncomfortable spaces of growth and learning and progress and fulfillment and happiness. So I'm trying to practice what I preach by doing this podcast and by seeing where it leads. That one step in the darkness that will light up that next step to where we're supposed to go, right? Another big part of my story is a little bit more challenging for me to talk about, but I feel like I need to, because it is a huge reason for really what I'm doing. My why is my youngest sibling, my little brother, Jamin. My brother died tragically and unexpectedly not very long ago, and that was a huge challenge for me and my family to kind of get through that, to manage that sadness that came from losing him way too early. And I thought a lot about, the insights that came from that experience and what he taught me. And I think what my brother taught me more than anything else is to live life fully. And I realize that sounds pretty cliche, but it's true. I don't think anything else could have taught me what my brother taught me, that we have one life to live and no day is guaranteed for us. So I did. I started to lean into fear and I stopped making excuses. Now, does that mean I'm perfect? Definitely not. I still avoid for a little while, or I sit in that uncomfortable space while I try to figure out what to do. But I think maybe a part of me is trying to live a full life for both of us, because he didn't get a chance to. And maybe even a little for my dad. He was also pretty young when he died. But Jamin, that's my little brother's name, even though he wasn't that little. Jamin is my why, and this podcast is a tribute to him. Even though he left early, I just want to say that he was incredible. He was a wonderful cheerleader and just so sweet and funny, and I love him. And I want to remember that part of him and remember all the great things that he taught me. And especially that any day could be our last, and just to live it well, live it fully. So that's what I'm doing. I will probably have critics, and I'll probably get judged and be seen by way too many people for my comfort level, but I'll also live without regret. It might be too late to help my brother through his challenges and too late to help him find his courage, but I can help myself, and hopefully I can help you as well. We really can create a life we can't wait to wake up to. That being said, I want to give you a little therapeutic homework that I give my clients. I want you to imagine what you would do if you were to leave this earth in the next 10 years, maybe the next 5 years, or the next year. I know this is very uncomfortable for some people. They don't like thinking about death, but I think it can be a very useful tool. It's like a perspective-taking thing, right? And I want you to journal about that for a little bit. What you would do, what that would look like, and just visualize that. Like close your eyes and picture what that might be like. Maybe not the death part if you don't want to picture that, but how you would live your life differently. What regrets would you have if you weren't here? Imagine yourself watching your funeral service and listening to all the people. Like, what would they say of you? What might they feel sad that you missed out on? Write it down. So I want you to make a dream list and dream big. I often do this many times, and I usually write about 100 things, and I do it over and over throughout the year because I find that my list changes. But I want you to picture yourself as like an elementary school kid. You know how they say, oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to build the tallest Lego tower, whatever it is. They don't rationalize away things. And I want you to think like that. I know you're probably in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and I want you to dream like you're a kid again. So do it. Don't hesitate. Write down those 100 things, journal about it, mindfully imagine what you would want to do with the rest of your life you have so that you don't live with regrets. Okay, now that homework assignment is out of the way, you wrote that down, you're going to do that before the next episode. I want to review fulfillment a little bit. So the definition of fulfillment is a satisfaction or happiness as the result of fully developing one's abilities or character. Now let me read that again. Fulfillment. Satisfaction or happiness as a result of fully developing one's abilities or character. Now, I don't know if I like that word fully because I think it's a work in progress, but I love how it's developing one's abilities or character. As we do that, as we focus on those things, we will grow in happiness. So that's really, again, what this is all about, right? Have you guys heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that pyramid? If you haven't, or if you have, I want you to imagine a pyramid. So in his updated pyramid, there are 8 stages. The bottom 4 are deficiency needs, and the top 4 are growth needs. So kind of stay with me for this little psychoeducation thing. I want you to imagine the bottom of the pyramid as survival needs, and the top 4 are more like thriving needs. So right now you might feel like your life is in total chaos. You're just a hot mess. And usually that's because some of your deficiency needs are not being met. So this is like food and water. This is love and belonging. This is respect from others, self-confidence, sex, shelter, like all these things. Any of those basic needs, if those are not being met, there is a lot of chaos in your life. So until those things are balanced more, your life is going to be up and down. And just a reminder in this, you can go up and down from the growth needs and the deficiency needs. This podcast will focus a lot more on how to move us up to the growth needs because that is where fulfillment lies. So these things are at the bottom of that. That's like cognitive needs, which is the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. So this might be more intellectual. And then above that is aesthetic needs. And that's the pursuit of beauty and creativity. So where you're really creating in your life and not just consuming things. The next step up from that is self-actualization. So that's achieving individual potential, or like I said, that fulfillment. That's just another word for it. And at the top is self-transcendence, which is helping others and spiritual experiences. So I kind of picture that like Buddha, that inner Zen, that really focusing on others, because you've very much done your inner work and you've reached your potential. And now there's not all this other stuff muddying up the waters, but you're really able to help people from this really healthy place and not this unhealthy space of giving to your own detriment, but this beautiful place of giving and charity and growth. And we can always give in different sections and help people, but it might not be quite that self-transcendence area that this pyramid is talking about. So hopefully, if you can't visualize that, why don't you go ahead and Google that, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like the updated pyramid, and just look at that and imagine what that's like. So those deficiency needs versus those growth needs. And again, this podcast is going to focus all about how to get you up that pyramid and stay there more often through different exercises. And I really hope that you'll do those exercises, those therapeutic challenges, so that you might find this more fully in your life, that we might all live our lives with more satisfaction, with more progress, potential, meaning, purpose. If that's really what you've wanted and you feel like you've been stuck in this rut, please keep coming back. All right, that's all I've got for today, my friends. Just a reminder that this is a new podcast, and I really need you to go to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. Give me a rating and leave your comments. That will make a huge difference. I really believe that small acts can create huge waves of change. When we're really trying to put good content out there and really trying to make a difference, there is a way to do it. You guys, if a cat playing a keyboard can get 71 million views and a girl barking at her dog can get 250 million views, I really hope you use your energy and influence to build something maybe a little more, okay, I'm not even going to say maybe, folks, a lot more important and worth our time, right? I promise this will take you less time than watching the keyboard cat, and it will add more value to the world. Go ahead and email me at fulfillment.therapist@gmail.com if you want to contact me or request any topics or any trainings. I will see you back here on Mondays and Thursdays each week with a new episode. I thank you so much for your support, and I really hope this episode will ignite your life and cause you to act in ways that will bring lasting fulfillment and joy. I can't wait to see you back soon. If this podcast has helped you gain the insights and skills needed to propel you towards transformation and joy, the number one way to help me is to leave a written review on Apple Podcast. Like you, I'm striving to become my higher self by helping others thrive, and I do that most effectively if you use your influence and give a review. Share this episode with a friend or share it on social media and let others know how it has helped you. I would be so very grateful and excited that we're creating positive ripples in so many lives. If you want to connect, you can find me on Fulfillment Therapy on Facebook and Instagram, or go to fulfillmenttherapy.org. Thanks for listening, and shine boldly and brightly, my friend.